my vinyl community. It's time for the third random picks video. This is great fun. I got these numbers, saw them this morning before going to work, so of course I haven't been able to even check which records it would be until now. And now when I opened up my computer to do this video, I saw that I got two more piles of interesting numbers. So I know that there'll be at least two more videos like this. That's all in all 5 then. So this is fun. This third random picks video, I'm very happy to do this because it's a member of the VC that we all love very much, because he's such a nice guy, so friendly, he always has a nice word to share with us, and there are many out there who can be described like this, but I think this guy is something special. It's Rob in Boston, or Paneeks1960, who gave me 5 interesting number that I got this morning when I woke up. So I just walked over to my shelves and picked them. So let's have a look. This is for you, Rob. First of all, it's funny too that some records that have already I've already showed them or talked about them here in the vinyl community, they keep turning up again. And the first one is this beauty, Karen Dalton, In My Own Time, on the Just Sunshine Records label. This is one of the more expensive albums that I bought. I think I bought it for approximately $60, something like that, in Uppsala 3 years ago maybe. And Karen Dalton is today, of course, she has had a bit of a revival. Her 2 original LPs are quite sought after. She only made 2. This is the second one. It's from 1970. Doesn't say, but I think it's from 1971 or 72. This is what the label looks like, and it's, as you can see, it's connected to Paramount, but the label is called Just Sunshine, and it's a very, very nice label, as you see, but a very good artist. And she's had a bit of a revival, late revival, since she's not with us anymore. She died quite young, since Bob Dylan in his memoirs started talking a lot about this girl, this woman, this singer, and praising her voice. And since then, her 2 original LPs have been issued on CD, and I bought them first on CD. I think I first heard her on a compilation that came with maybe the Uncut magazine, or maybe Mojo. I'm not really sure, but I heard her voice there. It was a track from her first LP that I haven't got. I've got it on CD, and I got this on CD as well. But when I found this in Uppsala for, well, it was not cheap, but it wasn't deadly expensive either. So I thought this was a very good purchase. As you see, the actual sleeve isn't in best condition. It has some wear and tear here, but the vinyl is tip-top. So I've showed this before because I think I made a video about different singers, female singers that I admire, and Karen Dalton came up as one example there. So I'm glad you picked that one. Now I'm going to show you 78 RPM, because as you know, I collect these 2, and this is 78 RPM from, I'm not actually sure when it's from, but it's either the late 20s or early 30s, and it's Paul Whiteman and his orchestra. It's Parade of the Wooden Soldiers, and it's a foxtrot, and the the best side here is Oh Yeah Yeah, which is a foxtrot. I have a deep affection for this. It's not really jazz; it's more dance music. The dance music of the 20s and early 30s have great affection. I love this kind of music. Makes me very happy, and I have to say this label. We can get it to. The record is for 78 RPM. This old. It's in very good condition. I have to say that. It's not in mint condition, but you have to admire these labels. I mean, they are just, if it will focus. No, it doesn't want to focus. But if I do like this, it has to focus. No, it doesn't. Doesn't want to focus. Anyway, great 78 RPM that not my favorite with Paul Whiteman. Paul Whiteman was called the king of jazz during the 1920s. A bit misleading because his orchestra played dance music, but often his big hit from 1920s, breakthrough hit Whispering, has been mentioned as an early jazz number, or it was described back then as a jazz number, but today when we listen to it, it's not jazz. We wouldn't call this jazz today. We would call it dance music, and very good dance music, but not jazz. Anyway, I have to say that the actual sleeve is Swedish, his master's voice sleeve. This sleeve was bought at Kungsgatan 4 in Stockholm, so it was a store there, record store. It says here Husbondens röst, and it says his master's voice. Husbondens röst is the Swedish translation of his master's voice, and Husbondens röst was when we talked about these records in Sweden, we didn't talk about his master's voice. We talked about Husbondens röst. But unlike many other countries, Husbondens röst was never used on the label. I mean, in Germany we had the same label, but with Die Stimme seines Herrn. In France we had Le Voix de son maître, which also means his master's voice. We didn't have that in Sweden. It was also always his master's voice, but when we talked about these records, we talked about Husbondens röst. Right. Some of you may think that's interesting. I think that's interesting. All right. Time for the next album and time to go to United States. And we have here Staple Singers, Be What You Are, with a lovely embossed sleeve here. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, I think you can actually see it. Very nice. I love the Staple Singers, and this is a great album on Stax from 1973. It's one of their later Stax albums. I think this is it's an American pressing, and we have the yellow Stax label. Yeah, I love Staple Singers. The band were great fans of the Staple Singers, and I can understand why. And especially the way they blended their voices, it's so magic. And I have to say, Mavis Staples, she has among the best, most passionate voices of any American singer that I know of. And when she sings from her toes. She means it from the bottom of her soul, with so much passion. Even the early music of the Staple Singers was gospel, religious music. This is more ordinary soul, but still she had that passion in her voice. Well, she still does. She's still out there touring and playing. So yeah, I'm very glad you picked this. I haven't got that many Staple Singers albums. I've got some different compilations, and I've got the later Staple Singers after their best years. But this is A very good album from 1973. Be What You Are on Stax. What next? Well, some jazz, some classic, well, a bit bebop, swing jazz. It's an LP with vibraphone player Lionel Hampton. It's called Lionel Hampton and his Jazz Giants Volume 2. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, this Staple Singers album, it was bought many years ago when I lived up in northern Sweden, and I was very happy when I found this. They aren't that easy to find up there. Yeah, I don't remember where I bought this one, but I can't have paid that much. It's a French record on the Black and Blue label. It's a recording made in Toulouse in May 1977. Quite simple sleeve. Want to see the label? It's a very nice label, I have to say. Very pleasant label. Looks like this. Black and blue. And anyway, this is more of a traditional style Lionel Hampton LP. We have quite famous tunes like Sweet Georgia Brown, Honeysuckle Rose, Misty, and also some more new numbers like Blues in Toulouse. And he also has a tune called, or a melody called JM Swing Discotheque. Quite good musicians on this. Apart from Lionel Hampton, we have Milt Buckner on organ, Barry Dunlop on bass, drums, Barry Smith on bass, Billy Mackel guitar, and Eddie Chambly on tenor sax. So it's a great album. Lionel Hampton plays the vibes, of course, but also he plays the piano and drums on one of the tracks, and he also sings. He had lots of musical knowledge, this guy, very musical, and it wasn't just the vibes that some may have got the idea that he only played the vibraphone. Okay, sorry. Oh yeah, the last pick one is one of the picks that I have made a video about before, because this is a record that caused me a great problem, and it hasn't been sold. I think the only way to solve the problem is to find another copy of the same record, but I'm going to show it to you. I found this, I bought it for nothing at a charity shop in northern Stockholm, and it's an LP with Clarence Williams and his washboard band. I'm a great fan of the early jazz of Clarence Williams. I don't think that's a big surprise that I'm a fan of Clarence Williams, because the music that you hear in the beginning of my videos for the last couple of months, it's very famous jazz recording by Clarence Williams Orchestra called Mandy Make Up Your Mind, in which the great saxophone player Sidney Bechet plays a very strange solo on this very strange double reed instrument called a bass sarrusophone. And I've been dying to get hold of that actual 78 RPM. I haven't even got a decent reissue on vinyl, but it's so I've taken it from YouTube and made an MP3 out of it because I like it so much. Mandy, Make Up Your Mind. So what's the problem with this record? Well, it's a Swedish issue. That's not a problem. It's on the Classic Jazz Masters label, and they make great recordings. But let's see now if you can see the surface on this album. Well, it's a bit dusty, but look at that. Look. It looks oily, right? It looks dirty, but it isn't dirty. When I asked people with lots of knowledge here on YouTube about this record what is it and what can I do? I got lots of different suggestions. One was try cleaning it with wood glue. Doesn't help. And finally, there's a guy here in Sweden who came out with the description that it's called, well, in Sweden they call it plastsmitta. Like this has been kept in a plastic cover made of PVC, which is polyvinyl chloride, like this. I mean, the kind of plastic that this is made of too. And that leaks oil and chemicals and destroys the records that you keep the records in. This now has a very simple white inner sleeve and normal outer sleeve too. But it has been destroyed by keeping it in a PVC plastic cover. So today, of course, nobody uses these PVC plastic covers anymore because it really destroys records, and it goes through even paper covers. It's like molecules in this plastic cover goes through the cover and eats the record like this, and it looks like this. And when you play it, it sounds very, very crackly. So it's not just a visual bad thing, it sounds awful. Especially on this record, hasn't been even played that much. I can't see any scratches on it, but you can play it, but it's very, very scratchy, and it's not supposed to be that. So the only thing for me to do is try to find another record of this, another copy of this record, and I'm sure I will someday. They aren't that rare, and it's a pity because I love Clarence Williams. I've got other Clarence Williams albums too, but this was a very good compilation, very good tunes. Mississippi Basin, Black Eyed Susan Brown, Mama Stayed Out All Night, and stuff like that. Chocolate Avenue, good tunes. Well, the good thing is I didn't pay more than maybe $1.50 something for this. So still, it's a pity. So you picked this record that I've already made a video about. So. But still, it made this video a bit more interesting. I hope. Maybe not. Anyway, those were the records that you picked, Rob. And I got 2 more lists of numbers now to check out. And we'll see when I'll be able to do those videos. Maybe if I have lots of energy, I might do them tonight or some other night. Anyway, nice to do this video, and this is very fun. And this is a good way to have a look. What do I have in my collection? Am I aware of what I have? Do I know all these records? Well, so far, fairly good. So, great idea by Dr. Deadwax, great idea by Sublime Media, and great fun. And hopefully somebody out there enjoys watching this too. Right? Bye for now.